What is going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back in the studio after a long trip, a successful trip up to Manchester yesterday. Obviously, we won 3-0, and we absolutely took Manchester United to the cleaners last night. We really did. It was a joy to behold that performance from start to finish. We'll get into the match review and stuff in a bit, but how are you feeling after last night, man?
Absolutely buzzing from yesterday. It was such a great display, and it was so great to go away, a Big Six team, and there's been a lot of conflicting narratives this season about Man United and Tottenham. And in many ways, Spurs and Man United have started the season fairly similarly in terms of like both teams feel like they should have gotten more points out of their games than they have. Man United fans feel like they probably created more chances and should have scored more goals than they have so far this season, and same with Spurs. But as a Spurs fan, watching both teams start the season, I definitely felt as much as Man United have missed chances, we control games better, and I think we're the better team. And it was really great to see that being justified yesterday, and how we just completely tore them to shreds. And we'll talk about all the incidents and how the red card changed the game and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, we should have been 2 or 3-0 up before that red card, and we should have been out of sight. And it was just so great that we went there with a sense of authority that we're the better team and we're going to show it, and we absolutely did yesterday.
Absolutely. A couple of super chats before we get going, both from Dark Sun G21. Big up yourself, Dark Sun G. And the first one says, also, I love how just like last season, Brentford was more challenging than Man United. Also, Brentford scored against us while Man U didn't, just like last season. However, they did score 2 at Old Trafford against us last season. And he also says, come on, you Spurs. We have a better Argentinian Dutch centre-back pairings than Man United.
Absolutely right.
I still can't believe we kept a clean sheet at Old Trafford. I'm a Richie fan. However, I have to say Dom has a quicker and better impact. And I'd agree with that as well.
I definitely agree with that. But it is definitely going to be important for Richie to come back to fitness, just so we have that option to rotate and take Dom out of the firing line, because he's playing a lot of football at the moment. Had to play another 90 minutes yesterday. But interesting to see if Ange can get some minutes on Thursday, maybe, because I think playing Solanke this much is probably going to be unsustainable, just because of the sheer work he puts in, doesn't he? He works absolute socks off. But I'm delighted with Solanke so far. But yeah, we'll get into it.
Yeah, it does feel like by 70, 75, 80 minutes every game, he's just completely knackered and out on his feet, and that just shows to the work rate that he's doing.
He's still not full fitness, he's saying, because he's come back from an injury, and he also didn't have, with Spurs anyway, much of a pre-season. We saw last year that for a lot of players it was a very different way of working under Ange Postecoglou, very intense, and we saw how many injuries that we got last year because players were changing the way they were playing and training. So Solanke's only just getting up to speed with that, albeit Bournemouth are quite an attacking side and pressing side. So when he gets back to full match fitness, it's a scary thought. He's already in 3-3.
I know, it's madness, and I can't be happier with the way Dom has settled into life at Tottenham Hotspur. But look, let's start off. Let's get into the match review. And, I guess we'll start off with the lineups. I think we were very happy when the lineups were chosen. Obviously, Sonny was out injured for the game, didn't make the trip up to Manchester, and everyone had that bit of apprehension about Timo Werner starting the game. And just on Timo Werner alone, yes, I know the big chances are always going to be highlighted, but I think for the most part he actually did really well yesterday. Dealing with Nordin Mazraoui down that side, I thought he beat him time and time again. I felt like he was getting himself in really good positions, but it was just a Timo. Once he gets in those positions, it was just classic Timo. Yeah,
I think he did a really good job for the team. Again, he showed what he can bring to the team in terms of he can hold the width. When he gets in one-on-one situations, he can actually when he's in confident mood, he can take on his man, like he did yesterday, like he did Mazraoui, and he's actually a real big threat in behind, which is really important, especially in the way we play when there's transitions on. It's very important to always have someone who can exploit that space, and that's exactly what he was able to do yesterday. Unfortunately, the finishing touches clearly are still not there, and that's something that has plagued his time in England, I think it's fair to say. So you just feel like maybe if he can just slot 1-1-1 and get that confidence back, he might all of a sudden be finishing like he was at Leipzig. But unfortunately, we just haven't seen that at Spurs, and we haven't seen it since he's been in the Premier League with Chelsea as well. He's always been a very poor finisher. So it's very frustrating when he gets in those situations, and it's a very weak finish, and the two finishes he had just didn't put enough power on them. But I don't know. Look, if he can perform like that and keep getting in those positions, then you just get the feeling that maybe if he can put one in, all of a sudden it might start to work for him. Who knows?
Yeah, I hope so. But, he did put one or two away at the back end of last season. It still hasn't related to, the firing form, which we maybe would have hoped that maybe Ange Postecoglou could turn Timo around. But look, no getting away from the fact that I was very happy with his performance yesterday, apart from those kind of finish. But again, you do feel like if Sonny was playing yesterday, we probably could have won 6 or 7 or even 8-0. That's how dominant we were, and that's a testament as well to Timo for getting into those positions, because I thought he took Mazraoui to the cleaners a couple of times yesterday.
But it's his first start in the Premier League this season. He's not had a lot of football, so. Look, let's. I think people need to get off his back a bit. Let's just get back.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And let's just, because we're going to need him this season. That's the reality. Wherever people want to say, this and that, we don't want to see him play, we're going to need him. He's going to be playing. So let's hope if he can put more performances in like this and actually, make more of the chances he gets, maybe we can actually be useful.
And that was literally the only slight negative coming out of the game yesterday, is that Timo didn't put away his chances. I think everything else, even Timo's performance on a whole, I thought was absolutely brilliant. Starting off with 4 minutes in, you could just see from the off, the pressing from Spurs was absolutely on point. Man United just couldn't live with us for a second in that opening 45 minutes. And obviously we get that goal 4 minutes in. Micky van de Ven doing what Micky van de Ven does. It's becoming just a bit too standard for us. Micky van de Ven just charging up the pitch, and it just seemed like no Man United player just wanted to engage with him. None of them could get close to him. He burst past 3 players, burst past another player in the box. I thought he went a bit too wide, and then he finds the most perfect ball to Brennan Johnson at the back post. And obviously Brennan is always taking up really good positions in those kind of areas, so he put it away into the empty net. And I mean, I can just wax lyrical about this Micky van de Ven assist all day long.
Go back to that first screenshot. This is like where he picks the ball up. Look how far inside his own half he is. This is where he gets the ball. Obviously, Rashford comes over, and Van de Ven just does the classic Van de Ven mop-up, which he does about, 4 or 5 times a game. But he picks up the ball in this position. And obviously, he then, if you go to the next screenshot, he drives into the space. I think if you take a snapshot here, he looks at that situation, and just look at that big bit of space in between the fullback and the centre-back. I don't think any centre-back looks at that space and goes, I'm just going to go drive through the heart. I don't think any centre-back in the league is capable of doing that, except for the centre-back that we have in Van de Ven. And the only player maybe who should have probably come over is, you look at Ugarte there, because you got Mazraoui's got Werner, you've got I think it's De Ligt, is it De Ligt or Martinez in the centre? He's got Solanke in the middle, so none of them can really go to him. It's really on Ugarte to come over to Micky van de Ven. Van de Ven looks at that space, and because everyone's marked, he's like, you know what, I've got the space to just drive right through the heart of that space right there. There's a big chunk of space there. The only worry is, could Ugarte come over and catch him? If you go to the next screenshot, you can just see Ugarte comes over to him, but he just can't get near him. He's got way too much space. He's got way too much pace, Micky van de Ven. Ugarte just doesn't have the pace to catch up with him. But even more impressive is here, if you look at the next screenshot, you look at this. This is not an easy ball to Brennan Johnson. He's stretching, he's getting to the byline, he's got to put it on a plate for Brennan just to tap it home. And it's just a wonderful ball right across the face of goal. How he finds Brennan from this position like a seasoned winger, getting from to the byline, cutting it to that back post. It's just a beautiful ball, and bam, Brennan Johnson, who was already smiling before the ball even went back into the back of the net, puts it away. So it's just an astonishing run from Micky van de Ven. I think any player in the Premier League, let alone a centre-back, would have been proud of that assist and would have been delighted with that contribution. And the fact we've got a centre-back who's got the ability to run from deep like that and do it is really incredible, and it's just another weapon in our armory we can use, isn't it?
And as people are saying here, Marcelo, big up to Marcelo. I'm not sure.
Long time no see. I hope it's him.
Is it the OG Marcelo? But he says Micky van der Speed.
That's Marcelo. That's got to be Marcelo, surely. That's got to be him.
And Cantab says Micky van der Bale as well. I mean, I just can't believe like how elite Micky van de Ven actually is, and he's still so young as well. He's only going to improve. Like, that's the scary thing about it, how good he is right now. And I say it every single weekend, I seem to say this, right? That no matter what kind of situation the opposition find themselves in when they're bearing down in our half with our high line, when you see Micky van de Ven running towards the ball, you just have no doubt in your mind that Mickey's going to get there first. No doubt in your mind. And that happened a couple of times yesterday.
Yeah, it happens every game. He's just, when he goes into a full sprint, when he puts the afterburners on, it's game over. Because as soon as he feels like he can get the ball and he puts on that pace, he knows he's getting it. That's it. Because no one can keep up with him. No one has the pace that Van de Ven does. And to have a player like that playing a centre back, and not only that, but he's big, he's tall, he's strong, he's technically proficient as well. You saw, as I said, when he got to the byline, what a brilliant ball on his left foot across the face of goal. It's a stunning ball as well. And we saw last season with some of the goals he scored that he's got a great technique and great ability with that left foot. So he's just the complete centre back when he's on form. The only question mark is can we keep his hamstrings from fatigue and all that kind of stuff, because we saw how it affected him last season. He got that big injury in the Chelsea game. But if we can keep him fit, I mean, there's no stopping him. There really isn't.
I guess the one kind of slight weakness in his game people are talking about is his ability in the air, especially for such a big guy. But I feel like he's battling down those critics this season as well. I think he's been really strong in the air this season. You know, look at the Arsenal game in the first half. I don't think he lost one header to Kai Havertz, and he's notoriously good player in the air. So yeah, I can't think of a weakness that Micky van de Ven has. I think he's an absolute elite centre-back. And Brennan Johnson as well, 4 goals in his last 4 games after all the criticism that he's come under, all the abuse he's taken on social media. Since coming off Instagram, he's performing like prime R9 at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah, he's really, really confident. And you saw first of all, he got a goal which comes from the tactical kind of set up from Ange Postecoglou, in the sense that he always wants his wingers at the back post, arriving late, getting those tap-ins. It's something Raheem Sterling was really, really great at Man City. Brennan Johnson showed a ability to do that last season. I think like he got 4 or 5 goals from that position as well, just arriving late. And because he's got so much pace, it's hard to stop him getting there first. And once Van de Ven put the ball across, you just knew Brennan was going to be there at the back post, and it's great tapping in. He just looked so confident yesterday. The chance where he hit the post, he didn't think too much about it, just got out with his feet and bam, across the face of goal. He put in some really good crosses as well, which one of them really nearly found Timo Werner at the back post, and there was some really great defending from Mazraoui to stop Werner getting a tap in. He had the assist for Decky's goal as well from a good run down the right. Yes, it got a bit of a deflection off the lift, but it was good, positive play again from Brennan. And he just looks so confident at the moment. He looks like he's coming into his own, and he's really hit a really good patch of form. And I'm so happy for him, because I think he's not even just the social media thing. I think the whole of last season, people questioning him, people saying he's rubbish, he's average, all this kind of stuff. And this is a guy who, whatever you want to think of him, I don't think he's the best winger in the world. I don't. But what I've always said about him, he's an effective player. He's got pace. He's got an ability in that position. He can do what Ange needs him to do. He doesn't have to be the best winger in the world to be able to just listen to what Ange requires of him and be able to execute it. And he's showing in the last few weeks he's absolutely capable of doing that. And he's showing what he can bring to the team. And he's a very, very valuable member. He's becoming a very, very valuable member of that front three now, the way he's been playing. So really happy for him.
The thing is about Brennan Johnson, he is playing with a smile on his face at the moment. You can see he's enjoying every single second on that football pitch, where, probably could say, particularly in the Coventry game, you could see, he was very down, and you can see the confidence reaping through him at the moment. He's getting in the right positions. He's always an option. He's taking on his man. He's showing pure confidence, being able to take off shots to a really high standard. That shot that hit the post, very similar chance to the goals that he has scored over the previous week against Brentford and against Coventry. So you're looking at a man playing at it with pure confidence. And one criticism I've always had about Brennan Johnson is that he can get the goal contributions, he can make an impact, but when he's not doing those goal contributions, is he causing a threat and is he making an impact in the game? Well, I think he's definitely doing that now. And you can see yesterday, particularly in the first half, how many times was he making a real impact and scaring the life out of that Manchester United back four. So I've got nothing but praise for Brennan Johnson, and I was one of his, I wouldn't say harshest critics. I never sent him abuse, so I couldn't have been that harsh on him, but I definitely was criticising how much of an impact he's making this Tottenham team. And right now, I couldn't be happier with what he's producing right now. So,
and he's also, on that point, he seems to be protecting the ball a lot better. He doesn't seem to be just giving it away whenever he gets it. I felt like a lot of times last season, maybe beginning of this season, when unless he's like got the ball in space and he's running at a defender, like when he's picking the ball in these tight situations and he's got a defender, behind him, and he's asked to like protect the ball a bit and lay it off and just keep the ball and just give it to a teammate. A lot of the times he ends up, trying to take someone on or just being a bit weak and being outmuscled. I felt like yesterday especially, he was much better just protecting the ball in tight situations, either, breaking into the space or just laying off for a teammate, which is really important to sustain attacks and stop us being, counter-attacked, because I felt like that was a big problem with Brennan, especially last season. So I think that's really, really great that he's, learning how to do that, I think.
Yeah, I think you saw yesterday, particularly in the first half, why statistically we're the best pressing team in the league. We just pressed them into submission. They did not know how to deal with us. They literally were gobsmacked of how good our pressing actually was. The amount of times we were winning it high up the pitch, and it wasn't just our pressing, it was our link-up play and build-up play, which they didn't know how to deal with either. Like on the left-hand side, you had Destiny Udogie and you had Timo Werner with lovely link-up play and build-up play, building our way up to the final third of the pitch. In the centre, you had Kulusevski and Maddison absolutely running the show. They didn't know how to deal with them. And then on the right-hand side, you had Pedro Porro and Brennan Johnson, and literally all of them were working in tandem together, and the partnerships on the pitch were just to die for. Literally the link-up play between Maddison and Kulusevski, some of that skill-key passing between them was just unbelievable. And that one moment where Udogie and Werner were working them together with that Werner, the lovely subtle touch that sent Udogie down the left-hand side. Exactly, it's just unbelievable, this kind of play. And Man, they just had no answer. And I was saying to you on the way back down, look, we've seen us win 3-0 there with Lucas Moura scoring 2 goals. We've seen us win 6-1 there. Obviously, we weren't there because it was COVID, but I feel like that was our most complete performance at Old Trafford, and I feel like that was the most we've shown up, man. And we've seen us score 6 goals there.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is to do with the setup from Ange Postecoglou, because I guess you can bring the lineups on, but you can see with this lineup, I think the big difference this season is adding Dejan Kulusevski into that central area, because you've got Maddison and Decky now in the 8s, and what is great about that is they're both really great in the central areas in the tight situations, and they can wriggle past players, and they're very, very intricate. But also they can pull out wide if the play is a bit too kind of congested in the centre now, which obviously when you got Ugarte and Mainu, in the centre, they went a bit more defensive, obviously Man United, because they've been playing Eriksen in there previously. So what it meant was, because Bruno, a lot of the time, was trying to stop Romero pressing. Was trying to stop Romero playing out the back because he's such a good passer. So he was kind of locked on with Xerxes pushing to the centre backs, because they know how good they are at build up. What it meant was they were pushing to the centre backs, and Ugarte and Mainu were then tracking Kulusevski and Maddison, because they just couldn't leave them free, because they know how dangerous that was. But what that meant was it allowed Bentancur in the centre there just to pretty much had a free reign. And Bentancur had a really great game. And when Bentancur was having too much of an influence, they kind of pushed one of Ugarte and Mainu onto him because he was getting too much of the ball. But it left one of Decky or Maddison free and to just roam. And because they're so good at either out wide or in the centre, they can kind of move wherever they want to find that space, because they're very effective in all the situations. And it just led to Man United not being able to live with our midfield. The midfield was just buzzing all over the place, and they were just looking left and right. And they just didn't know where to go, essentially. Who to pick up, where to clog up the space. And I felt just having those options of Maddison and Kulusevski now in the centre has given a completely new dimension to this team, and I'm absolutely loving it. And I just think when they get close to each other, Maddison and Kulusevski, they can play around you. When they get a bit wider, and they isolate them. They isolate you one-on-one. They can dribble past you because they're really good dribblers, and it makes it very hard to stop and very hard to deal with. And that, I think Man United found that out yesterday.
Just look how dominant we actually were in the first half. If you look at these stats, this is literally just the first half stats. 1.99 XG for Spurs in 45 minutes of football. They had 0.35. 63% possession to Spurs. 3 big chances, 12 shots. 2 corners, 331 passes to their 195. And bear in mind, we're away from home at Old Trafford here, and we literally made it like our home ground yesterday. How are Man United only having 37% possession in the first half against us at Old Trafford? I think is mad.
And in fact, they actually had more possession in the second half, with 10 men, which is amazing. And you got, obviously they did go down to 10 men, but they in that first half, it was only the 42nd minute, I think he got sent off. So those first half stats are pretty much 11 versus 11.
Yeah.
And, we absolutely dominated them, and we should have been more than a goal up in that first half.
We had 9 shots inside the box in the first half.
Yeah. We created great
9
chances.
shots. That the only thing at half time we were saying is that we haven't put away our chances, and it was only 1-0. And you know what happens at 1-0? The longer it goes 1-0, the more dangerous it gets. But from a purely performance level, it was just a joy to behold, and I haven't seen us that good away from home in a long time.
And what I loved about it is we had just so many different methods of attack. Obviously, the goal came from Van der Ven running from deep. That was one method. We had a quick transition with build-up between Werner and Udogie, which found Kulusevski to Brennan, who hit the post. That was like another method. We had dangerous moments from crosses as well. Porro crossing it to Romero, who had a scissor kick, who just put it wide. We had another great transitional moment where Dejan Kulusevski prodded it through to Timo Werner, who went through a one-on-one. But we also had brilliant, intricate build-up play when Decky and Maddison were doing 1-2s, and Decky did a backheel flick into Maddison's path, who then he went through one-on-one and tried to chip it over Onana, who made a good save. We had other moments where Udogie had a couple of chances. He had a couple of shots deflected from more good build-up play from Spurs, which went over the bar. From corners, we looked quite dangerous as well. So it was just... any way they looked, Man United, like there was a different kind of method Spurs were trying to attack them, and were getting joy out of it. And that just goes to show the variation I think Ange is trying to bring to our play this season, which maybe last season people were criticising.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, Man United were definitely willing participants in this game. They were absolutely shocking. They were not at the races whatsoever. Their midfield was open like the Red Sea. Ugarte, I thought, was absolutely shocking on the day. They got bookings across their whole front line. They couldn't deal with us. They were getting frustrated time and time again, and I think that frustration blew out with the Bruno red card, because he did give the referee a decision to make. I don't think it was a red card. I think probably a yellow was probably more than adequate for that challenge. I think he slips and kind of, I don't know if he even catches Maddison. Does he even touch it?
I've got a screenshot. He definitely touches him, but he touches him with his heel. And you can see here, that's the point of contact. Yeah, it is pretty high, but I don't think it's dangerous. He does slip. And Bruno said after the game, the referee said that he felt like he scraped down Maddison's shin with his studs, and you can see here there's no contact with the studs whatsoever. It touches his heel. He makes contact with his heel. It's a yellow card only because Maddison's on a breakaway and it's a cynical challenge, but it's not a red. I actually think it should have been overturned from VAR, and I think if Man United appeal that, I do think it will be overturned because it's not a red. I think it's a really bad decision from the referee, actually.
Let's get it right though. Like, anyone wants to complain about red cards and it changing the course of the game. This did not change the course of the game whatsoever at all.
If anything, they had more of the game.
100%, exactly. I think they got a bit better when they went down to 10 men, and 11v11 we battered them, and then even 10v11 we were more than deserved victors as well. So the red card did not change the course of the game whatsoever, and we obviously scored more goals when they did go down to 10 men, but look, they came back into it a little bit in the after we went 2-0 up.
If I'm playing devil's advocate, if I'm a Man United fan, you'd probably say red card, it's only 1-0, And you did see in that first half, as much as how dominant Spurs were, and they could have been 2-3 up, and they definitely should have been, they did miss a few of those chances, which they have done, in previous games this season, when in similar situations, when they're in the ascendancy, they miss chances. And Man United you could argue, they showed a bit of threat. Xerxes had that chance with Vicario, had to make a one-handed save. Garnacho has that volley at the back post, which smacks the post as well. So they had a bit of threat, and if they continue creating those kind of chances and Tottenham keep missing chances, with 11v11, maybe it could, Man United could have got back in the game. They could have maybe made a comeback, and that red card pretty much killed any opportunity of that happening. So if you're a Man United fan, that would be your method of argument. But I would just argue that we should have been 2 or 3 up before that goal anyway, and what's it called? We were the ones creating all the great chances. We were dominating the game, and I think it was unlikely Man United would have come back into it. But I guess if it's 11v11 and it's still 1-0, you never know. I guess is the argument. So
yeah, you do never know. But on the balance of play, Man United deserve absolutely zilch, from that first half, and they were lucky to go in at 1-0. They really were very lucky to go in 1-0. If it's 3-0 to Spurs at half time, like nobody's thinking otherwise. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was deserved.
It was fully deserved. Fully deserved. We absolutely smashed them and took them to the cleaners in that first half, and it was a joy to behold. It really was. And it left me thinking after the game, like Liverpool top of the league on 15 points?
Yeah.
If we would have got the results that we deserve this season with the win at Newcastle and the win at Leicester, we'd be on the same points as them, sitting right there at the top. And there's been a lot of complaints about Ange and the way we play our football, and is he the right manager to take us forward? I've been consistent in saying this, and I've been saying that Spurs have been playing well throughout the whole season. We just haven't been clinical enough. And even in the games where we've won against Brentford and Man United, we could have been more clinical. You are seeing us grow with our cutting edge and our clinical nature. It's definitely growing as the season's progressing, but we've been playing well all season. Literally, probably our worst performance of the season was the Arsenal game.
And even that we dominated possession. It was just a case of we struggled to break them down.
Which we lost narrowly against, a very good defensive side.
And also, that was our worst performance of the season, but we didn't deserve to lose.
No, exactly. I 100% agree. So we've been playing very well this season. It's just that in some of the games, our performance, we haven't got the results that our performances have deserved. So I said to you after Brentford, do you feel like we're turning a corner? After that game, I feel like we are turning a corner. Maybe we have turned the corner.
Yeah, and I hope that we continue on this trajectory, because we're brilliant to watch. I think what's great is the eye test would tell you that we've been playing well this season. I think the stats back up the eye test as well. You can see we're top of the metrics. I think we're now created the most XG in the whole league. We're now second for goals conceded in the league as well. So the metrics back up what we're seeing on the pitch, and unfortunately the results just weren't quite there in the first 4 games. But I think you can see that we've just stuck by it. We haven't lost belief. And I think at the moment what we're seeing is the results finally catching up to the performances. And look, it's only 2 in the Premier League, 2 wins in a row. So don't want to go too overboard. But those 2 games, we've absolutely battered the opposition. We've absolutely won at a canter and deservedly won convincingly. And we've always, we've been saying all season that these results have just been waiting to come. And unfortunately, we've just been a bit unlucky and it hasn't gone our way. And now it seems as though we're getting ahead in games. We're putting teams to bed. And this is exactly what we've been saying all season, that these results were just waiting to come. And now we're seeing them. So it's really, really great. Second half as well. I know it was a bit of a scary moment, Doggy going off at half time, and it looked like, I told you after like 25 minutes, the Doggy's going to go off at half time. They're not going to risk him for the whole game. And Spence came on, who did quite well. But we didn't allow our standards to drop. In fact, 3 minutes into the second half, we put the game to bed. That's exactly what the doctor ordered in that second half, because you don't want to allow Man United to stay in the game. Even with 10 men, they get a bit of luck or something. If it stays at 1-0, they can still get back in the game. They got enough quality on the pitch to find a bit of moment of quality or a bit of luck. And that second goal, once that went in, you just felt like that's a wrap pretty much. They weren't getting back in that game.
Party mode. Brennan Johnson, brilliant work down that right-hand side.
Brilliant work from Solanke, but you see the goal.
Solanke as well.
What a header just to get it into
100%.
Johnson's path. half. Brilliant from him.
And that finish from Deki, what a finish. Like a karate kick in that looped over Onana. Unbelievable.
Because it's an awkward height, isn't it? He has to jump up, and he has to flick it past Onana from a... obviously, it wasn't the most difficult angle, but it's a kind of awkward finish for, situation for Deki to get that finish off. And he kind of improvised really quickly, jumped up, got that little flick, and it's a lovely finish right into the corner. And obviously, it was brilliant reward for what was an outstanding display from him.
I can't fault anything in Deki's performance yesterday. I think it was like the perfect performance, literally. I think it's probably his best. No, it's definitely his best performance in the Spurs shirt. Yeah. Can you remember? And he's had some good ones, right, for Spurs. When he first came here, that run under Conte, obviously he was going on a really good run then, and then he's been a bit inconsistent since then. But this season, he's found that consistency back. He's playing in the position that he wants to play in, through the centre of the park. He's so hard to deal with. He's so physical. You can't get the ball off him. His link-up play with the rest of his teammates is to die for. And we just need him to start finding those finishing touches and start adding those goal contributions, and he did that yesterday.
Yeah, I thought he was sensational. He was just... every facet of his game, he was absolutely amazing yesterday, Kulusevski. You know how well he presses because he's such a physical specimen, and he runs all day and all night because he's got unbelievable stamina. But I think what's great is when he receives the ball, because he's quite two-footed and he's quite strong and he's good at dribbling, he likes taking people on, and he's obviously had that time as a winger, so he's been used to taking people on. He can kind of go any direction. So the midfielders, when they're kind of marking him, they don't know what to do because they force him on one side and they try to show him on to go one way, and he can just go the other way. Wherever the space is, he'll find it. He's a real 360 player. He looks like he's got eyes on the back of his head, and he does these amazing spins in behind, which are so hard to deal with, because once he gets a little bit of space on you, because he's so strong, he can just shove you off, and you can't really outmuscle him, which is unbelievable. And it's a really, really brilliant facet of his game. And not only that, once he gets a little bit of space, he showed yesterday he's got the quality to make the difference. 9 chances created, which is more than any away player ever in Old Trafford, and more than any player in the past 3 years in the Premier League. Just shows the quality he's got in that final ball. People criticise his final ball, but he was just creating chances fun. He created that chance for Brennan. He played 2 brilliant through balls to Werner, putting him through one-on-one. He did that brilliant flick to Maddison to put him one-on-one as well. He was just creating chances galore yesterday, and that just showed you, obviously, in those situations, we know Maddison has that ability to play that killer ball time and time again. But every time we gave it to Deki and he had a little bit of space, he was just opening up Man United for fun. They just couldn't live with him. Whether they got close to him, that he could just spin off them. Whether they stood off him, he could open them up with a pass. If they had the ball, he could tackle them with his pressing. It was just an all-round, unbelievably complete performance. The only downside is, I actually don't think he got an assist yesterday, did he? Because
no.
they kept missing the chances.
Yeah.
He should have really had at least 3 assists with the chances he created.
He created 3 big chances yesterday.
That was the only downside. So he was absolutely incredible, Dejan Kulusevski. I think that's one of the best, not only his best performance I've seen in a Spurs shirt, that's probably one of the best midfield performances I've seen in the league this season from anyone. It was absolutely incredible. And if he carries on this trajectory, he's going to become one of the best midfielders in the league, because he's literally unstoppable in this kind of mood. It's really, really something special to see. And the link up with Maddison, they're really creating that synergy. They've got that almost telepathic, they're building this sort of telepathic relationship now with their 1-2s and when they're getting close to each other. But what I love about it as well is that not only do they have that, but off the ball they've got that tenacity to make sure they're surrounding the opposition, they're getting that pressing, making sure they're not making life easy for them. Because you would have thought in those kind of players, we saw it when Wenger had a lot of technical players, but off the ball they were quite easy to play against, so you could play around them because they just didn't have that tenacity and aggression. But Maddison and Kulusevski really have that, and which is something that I really, really like. And that trio with Bentancur there is really developing a really good partnership there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Bentancur was so calm and measured on the ball yesterday, wasn't he? He was just calmness personified is Rodrigo Bentancur, and I feel like you're really seeing him get back to the best that we've seen from him. So unbelievable. Deki and Maddison, like you say, the link up between them and their relationship on the pitch is building game by game, and you're seeing Spurs really perform out of their skins, and just they're starting to get those goals, and they're starting to win games consistently. We've got big games coming up, Brighton away, and if we go and beat Brighton away before this international break, surely opposition fans and rival fans are going to start talking about Spurs in a much more positive light, because I think there's been a lot of lazy journalism on Spurs this season, a lot, and everyone's been saying, even journalists, rival fans are saying, not even watching the games and just looking at the results and saying, oh, is Ange Postecoglou going to last at Spurs? Is he a good manager? Is he too naive for the Premier League?
Gone by Christmas somehow.
You know what I mean? All that kind of stuff is just complete garbage. And if you actually watched the games and saw how we took Newcastle to the cleaners, just didn't take our chances, saw that we could have scored 3 or 4 goals in the first half against Leicester and probably should have put that game to bed, saw that we dominated the possession against Arsenal. Yeah, maybe they let us have the possession and asked us to break them down, which, yeah, fair enough, we couldn't. But that's the only game which I can look at and talk about. We didn't create a bucket load of chances
against the best defence in the league.
Against the best defence in the league,
So
which, by the way, we've conceded the same amount of goals as them this season against a team that everyone says, oh, we're so open, we concede so many chances a game. Is it possible for a team is it sustainable for a team to go on like this and be so open at the back? And even I've asked that question throughout the season, but we're sitting here 6 games in. I know it's not a big sample size, but we're sitting here 6 games in and we've conceded the same amount of goals against the best, what we're led to believe, the best defence that world football has ever seen.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I think Ange makes a good point when he said in his press conference, in this game, in previous games this season, I think we have maybe kind of dwelled on missed chances a bit too much, because there's a feeling like at the beginning of the season, we miss a few chances, we concede a goal, and all of a sudden there's like a big panic, and all of a sudden there's like we get we start rushing our attacks, and every time we miss a chance, it's like we start rushing the next chance because we feel like we keep missing chances and we're gonna get punished. But yesterday we just had a bit of calmness about us. Like we didn't dwell on those missed chances. If we miss a chance, it's all right, we'll create another one. And that's how it's got to be. Because if you start dwelling on those missed chances and let it get in your head and let it affect you, that all of a sudden it's going to affect how you finish, and it's going to make you rush those finishes, and it's going to make you not have that composure in front of goal, and it's going to lead to more missed chances, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way. You start rushing things, and you start having too much eagerness and too much urgency because you feel like, oh, we've missed all these chances, are we going to get more? But yesterday it just felt like, if we missed a chance, all right, we'll get the ball back. We'll just create another one. We'll just open them up again, and we'll get the goal somehow. And that's exactly what the mentality we need, especially the way Ange likes to play. Because we are quite open, we take a lot of risk. You can't be dwelling on those missed chances, because the way we're set up is the aim of the game for us is to create as many chances as possible. So if you start dwelling on missed chances, then that's only going to affect the future chances you might get. So I think we maybe yesterday started showing that we're not going to start dwelling on those situations anymore. I hope so, anyway. But yeah, let's talk about, obviously we did get 3-0, Dom Solanke with the 3rd goal as well. What a brilliant performance from Big Dom as well. If I want to show again, it looks like a simple goal, doesn't it, from Dom Solanke? He gets on the end of a corner, which Bergvall swings in, and
what a delivery, by the way. Brilliant
delivery. Sarr heads it on. But this is the situation. This is the a snapshot of when Sarr gets a header. Very, very similar to the Karabag game, where the point of contact when Son shoots, Solanke's got 2 defenders ahead of him. But when the snapshot of Solanke putting in, he's all by himself and he's got a tap in. Again here, when Sarr gets a header in, if you see Solanke, he's right by him, Mazraoui and Martinez. They're both ahead of him. But yet he's the one on the move. He's the one anticipating the contact. He's the one sniffing out the opportunity to get the tap in. And obviously, I don't have a snapshot here, but when Sarr heads it on to Solanke, and he obviously gets the tap in, he's all free. He's free at the back post, and he taps it in. And this is again more example of Solanke just being that poacher that we need. But his movement is unbelievable. It is something we haven't had. Like Son, I feel like, and maybe even Richarlison, don't have that instinct of just always continuously moving and making sure that they're keeping defenders on their toes, because it looks easy, and it looks like it's just, again, it looks like it's a simple tap and a simple goal. And all Solanke's goals for Tottenham so far, 3 and 3, have looked simple and looked like, oh, they're just easy tap-ins. But it all comes from him moving all the time, always looking for opportunities where those tap-ins are, anticipating mistakes, anticipating flick-ons from Tottenham players, anticipating all these situations. And that is exactly what a top number 9 should be doing. And yes, he had a couple chances through one-on-ones where he probably should have finished. That comes with, rhythm, and hopefully that will come for him, once he gets back to full fitness and once he, gets that match fitness and sharpness up. But what's always going to be there for him is that ability to always sniff out opportunities and always be on the move, and always make sure that if defenders are standing still for even a second, he can nip in there and get those little tap-ins and be a poacher. And that's exactly what he's brought to us. And he got his goal yesterday. And I just thought his all-round game was brilliant yesterday, wasn't it?
Unbelievable. Just worked so hard for the team. Link-up play, like I keep saying every week, I think it was link-up play, build-up play, anticipation, gambling. He's unbelievable. The only criticism I have of him is that I thought his finishing was a lot better than it was, because he has missed like a few one-on-ones now in a Spurs shirt, which I thought he would gobble them up for fun, these kind of chances. And I thought Solanke was going to fit us very well, but he's actually fitted us a lot better than I actually anticipated with his work rate. His sheer work rate is a pure Ange Postecoglou player. He really is in the number 9. I think he just needs to brush up on his finishing, and he can literally get like monstrous numbers of goals for us. He really can.
Obviously, when we're comparing him to like someone like Harry Kane, who's obviously gone off to Bayern Munich, you would say obviously Harry Kane in the system would score bucket loads of goals just because of the sheer chances we create. But when you talk about off the ball work and what he brings for our pressing system, you could definitely argue someone like Solanke, like what he offers there, probably offers more than Harry Kane off the ball, because of how he presses and how he harries and how he makes those tackles. He gets close to people, and he's got decent pace. Like, people, it's underrated his ability, his pace off the ball as well. And not only that, I think his hold-up play is sensational. He doesn't mind a player behind him like shoving him and trying to muscle him off the ball, because he can handle it with his physicality. He can hold players off. But what I love about him as well is when we're looking for build-up play, we can go direct and he can just pop it off out wide. He appreciates where people are on the pitch and the space there, because he's got really good flicks. He has really great ability to just keep hold of the ball and allow other players into space, to make use of that space. And you saw with the second goal as well, brilliant ability just to get that header to Brennan Johnson. He needed to put power on it, and he was able to get it over Martinez into Brennan Johnson's path and set us up for another attack. And I think his all-round game, we've already seen, it's only been 6 games, but his all-round game has been brilliant. And because of his physical traits, he's very, very difficult to stop. He's very difficult to bully. You can't bully him because he's so strong. And yes, we haven't even seen his ability from crosses and stuff like that, because we haven't given him the supply, and that's another element that at Bournemouth he was absolutely brilliant at. So we've only seen the basic level of Solanke at the moment, which is just hold up play and his ability
and
to
not
be
100% fit as well,
and not 100% fit. So I feel like there's so much more to come, which is so exciting, because I think he's been brilliant so far in pretty much every game, apart from maybe the Arsenal game where he struggled a bit, but against Saliba and Gabriel, who wouldn't? So I think even in that game he had some joy. He just wasn't looking at, that was his first game back from injury, wasn't it? So I think in every game this season, I feel like all the centre-backs who've played against him will feel like they've been through a real tough game and really not enjoyed playing against him. And I feel like he's given just a completely different dimension to our attack, which is so exciting.
He really is. And I'm trying to think about the last striker we signed, where straight from the off we could see that he completely fits what we're trying to do, and he's at the required levels as well. I've been so happy with pretty much every game Solanke's played. And I think Harry Kane's a different case, because obviously we didn't sign him. He came from the academy. But who's the last striker we actually signed and saw this impact straight from the off? It must have been back to the Defoe, Keane and Berbatov days.
Yeah, which is now nearly 20 years ago coming up. So
it's got to be that long.
Well, to be fair, we probably haven't signed a good striker for about 10 years, so because we've always had Harry Kane. But yeah, absolutely. I think he's made a real impact. And I think that as a testament to the recruitment, because as we said before, I mean, look, it's only 6 games, so I don't want to say he's going to be the best striker I've ever seen. But in terms of recruitment, we all said, before the season, a lot of people were questioning why we're spending this money on him. Why, 60 million, it's a big price tag. He's only had one amazing season in the Premier League, all these different things. But we were saying before, when we were analysing this kind of transfer, why we'll bring him in, we were saying, yes, he's a great goal scorer and we need that, but it's not just that is why we've signed him. it's the work rate he gives off the ball. It's that physicality. It's exactly what we need in that front line, exactly what he's going to bring. And we can already see it in the first 6 games. Like, he hasn't even taken that long to settle in. Even in the first game against Leicester, you saw exactly what he would bring. And I think the recruitment has been brilliant on this decision, in my opinion.
You know what really annoys me about yesterday? Spurs put in this unbelievable performance. And yes, Man United were willing participants. And yes, Man United they were just nothing short of embarrassing on the day, particularly in that first half. And that is all the focus is on. The focus on all the pundits and all the narrative around the game is about how poor Man United are. Why isn't the narrative about how unbelievable and how good Spurs were yesterday? Why is that? Why is that? Spurs were put in arguably the best performance of the season this year in any team in the league. Better than any performance Man City have put in that I can remember. Better than any performance Arsenal have put in. Definitely Arsenal. Arsenal have hardly attacked this season. Better performance than any attacking display that Liverpool have put in this season.
Well, they won 3-0 Old Trafford.
I know that, but I think ours was more convincing than theirs. You look at the XG, that tells it all as well. You know, no one's created that much XG, I think, this season. Maybe Arsenal against Leicester yesterday. Well, who created more XG, Spurs or Arsenal over the weekend? But
it was probably quite close.
Either way,
just about, actually.
Either way, Spurs were unbelievable yesterday, whether Man United were willing participants or not. The performance was absolutely to die for. So I think that these pundits need to take a long look at themselves. Instead of focusing on the negativity from Manchester United, focus on the brilliance, what Tottenham performed on that football pitch yesterday.
Yeah, because they're acting like it was just like a fluke or something, or like we just turned up on a day Man United play badly. But at the end of the day, we've been playing like this consistently throughout the season, and I think we haven't got the credit we deserve because some of the results haven't gone our way. But if any people watch, or pundits or analysts who are watching the games we've been playing, they would be able to tell that actually Tottenham have been controlling games really well, and we have been dominating games, and we just haven't got the finishing touches, and we haven't quite killed off games when we should have. And yet all of a sudden when we go to Old Trafford win, it's almost like this big surprise and like, wow, we've never seen this from Tottenham before. But actually we've been playing like this all season, and you've just been looking at the results and haven't been looking at the context of the games. And if you had, you'd be able to tell that we've actually been deserving of a lot more results like this season than we've gotten. So that on that context, we should be getting a lot more credit for absolutely taking Man United to the cleaners in this game, rather than all the analysis on just how bad Man United are and they allowed Tottenham to do this and that, because Tottenham have been doing this to everyone pretty much this season, and we've just been a bit unlucky with some of the finishing. So, I'm watching Match of the Day. They spend pretty much 90% of the analysis on Man United, then a little bit of Tottenham at the end. Sky Sports analysis, pretty much the whole thing was Man United. I don't know, they much might touch on Tottenham at the end. I've switched it off half before then. But it's just very frustrating. Gary Neville, he does his podcast, he pretty much just talks about United the whole. And I get it,
every 5 minutes he's like, I'll get onto Tottenham in a minute because they were brilliant. I'll get onto Tottenham. He never did.
Like, barely touches on Tottenham. He just says, Ange is playing good football and that's it. Move on. I just feel like I get it because Man United are a bigger club and they command all the. If they talk about Man United, they'll probably get more views than talking about Tottenham. But I think Tottenham deserve a lot more praise in the media than Man United deserve criticism, because we've been really good actually this season and people just haven't given us the credit.
Did get the feeling a little bit like yesterday at Old Trafford, it was a kind of start to the end. I mean, we've maybe felt this a few times with Man United and Ten Hag, but it did feel like a team which is about to lose their manager. Yesterday. And you know what? Man United fans were coming into this confident. Man United fans thought they were going to win the game. They thought, Tottenham, the most perfect team to play right now with their high line, how open they are at the back. They fancied their chances yesterday. And that's why they're so at you. Look at every Man United podcaster, YouTuber, whatever you want. They are fuming. They are fuming, not only because they were shocking, but they thought they were going to win yesterday.
Well, they thought they were the better team. They think they're the better team. They think they got the better players and all this stuff. And we showed them that we play the way we want. We play the way we do, or play the way we want to, because
the big Ange Postecoglou.
Because for a reason, it's not because we want to give chances to the opposition. The aim of our football isn't just to be really open and not care about teams even getting behind. We risk teams getting in behind so that we have the control that we do, and we have all these avenues of attack. And we saw yesterday Man United tried to get in behind. They tried to find Rashford, they tried to find Garnacho, but they really struggled to find the opportunities to do so because of how we suffocated them, because of how we dominated the ball. And if we play like we do more often than not, that's going to be the more likely scenario rather than teams just continually breaking in behind, which is, we were saying at the beginning of the season, yes, the goals we've conceded are frustrating, but how many chances did Leicester and Newcastle actually have? Very few. But they took them. They were clinical. But you see with Man United, if you're not as clinical as that, Man United missed a one or two chance yesterday, and that was all they had, because we were just so dominant. And if Newcastle would have missed one chance, that was all they were going to get. So the thing is, with these teams who come up against us, they better take the chances if they get them, because if they don't, they might not come again. Whereas with us, if we miss a chance, we know we've got the ability to create more chances, so we're not so worried about that. So I think that's a big difference, and we're a lot braver than a team like Man United, who put in Ugarte in yesterday because they wanted to stifle us a bit more, and they just weren't able to do that because of how brave and how much risk we commit. And we do it for a reason, and teams have been laughing us off because all fans, because we're so open, all this kind of stuff. But there's a reason we do that, and it can pay off.
Yeah, and it definitely is paying off at the moment, and you're seeing the team go on a massive upward trajectory at the moment. It really is, and we have to keep this run going. Big games coming ahead. If you're looking at our fixtures now, if you just bring it up, we got Europa League and then Brighton. We got Ferencvaros away, 5:45 early kickoff on Thursday, and then Brighton away in the Premier League on Sunday, and then we got an international break, and then you've got West Ham at home, AZ Alkmaar in the Europa League, Crystal Palace away, all before a hard run comes in with. That's a really hard run, isn't it? You got Man City at home in the Cup, Villa at home in the league, and then Galatasaray away in the Europa League. So we have to pick up these points now. I feel like the international break is coming at a bit of a wrong time for us now.
Well, considering the momentum we're building, you don't want that to, don't want any reason for that to break up, do you? So you want to just keep playing and keep the form going. You want Johnson to keep getting on the pitch and scoring goals. You want Solanke to keep a scoring run. So is what it is. We have to deal with it. Hopefully, we go into the international break with 6 wins out of 6. That'll be fantastic. We want to keep this run going, keep this momentum going. We've got 4 wins on the trot now, so there's definitely a good feeling. The good feelings coming back to the club, and the fans are getting more on board. You feel that. I thought Ange definitely came under probably a bit too much unjustified criticism at the beginning of the season, despite the fact that results, what we were saying, if you take in the context of the end of last season and the beginning of this season, yes, I understand the pressure, but if you just take this season under context, just this season in context, then it was a bit ridiculous, some of the pressure he was coming under.
Ange's second season.
Exactly, Ange always wins something in his second season. So, look, I think there are so many good teams in the league now. It's hard to go too many games without hitting a good team. So we're going to have to face these good teams at some point. And look, we know we can go toe-to-toe with anyone on our day. We've showed that. Even last season under Ange, even in difficult periods, like we went toe-to-toe with some, we got draw at Man City when we had all those injuries and all that stuff. So we know that when we're in this kind of form and we've got everyone fit and everything, we are a match for anyone right now. So I think everyone's going in confident, whoever we're playing.
Absolutely. And, I was a bit apprehensive going into the Man United game. I thought we'd win the game, but I thought they'd make it a lot harder for us than it was, judging by, Man United, they haven't been shocking this season. Yes, they haven't been getting the results, but they have been creating a lot of chances. Coming into this game, they created the second highest XG out of anyone in the Premier League.
All the Man United fans saying how, there's definitely signs of improvement and all that kind of stuff.
And now they all want him out.
And now they're all of a sudden, look, the reports today, apparently, he's under real pressure. They've got Porto away and Villa, apparently another 2 losses, and it might be the chop. So, it just shows... this is what a big Ange can do to you.
Exactly. The big Ange effect, people. But that is our match review. Big up, everyone.